Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Jerry Hamilton. And today we got Rod Babers filling in for Bobby Burton. So thanks for joining us this morning, Rod. Appreciate that. Be sure to tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, get your questions in. And we are also 38 days away from kickoff. So be sure to tell us who your favorite number 38 is. We'll come circle back to that here in a little bit, but there's a couple of them that come to mind. So we'll have to see what everybody weighs in on when it comes to the chat for that. But first, guys, we are exactly 1 week away from practice starting. So, Rod, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts this morning on where things stand and, what you're hoping to hear out of that first practice.
I got to break in.
Uh-oh.
I got to break in.
Boom.
I was on the road. I didn't have a chance to do it. You know how we celebrate 5-star commitments, corn dogs with mayo. All right, Rod, you're up.
Oh, no. Oh, that is an abomination. That really is. That is.
We celebrate 5-star commitments.
And I love me some corn dogs, but I'm not a fan of white condiments anyway. That's a difference. But, yeah, 38 days, right, away from kickoff. But, man, it's crazy that training camp's getting ready to start for these young guys. I think, for me, the biggest storyline is about the expectations and how they're embracing the expectations now. I mean, the expectations are sky high. When's the last time you guys remember expectations this high for Texas football?
Yeah. 05.
Oh, exactly. Going into 05. That was the last time they were this high. So it's been, a couple of decades since Longhorn fans have been able to embrace the expectation without a lot of the anxiety associated with it. Usually expectations like, oh, man, I don't know about this. I'm not sure about this. I'm uncertain about this area. I think a lot of Longhorn fans, when they discuss the expectations now, that basically the Longhorns are expected to either win it all. All right, it'd be a disappointment. I remember being a part of Mac Brown teams that won 11 games. We were a disappointment. Like that's where we are now. Like I remember my last 2 years, we won 11 games, and think about walking away from the program going, "Damn, we disappointed. We underachieved," and we did. By the way, we did. We were good enough to play for a national title. We were good enough to win the Big 12, and so. To me, I think that's the story, the narrative overall, the macro storylines that they are embracing the expectations. Sark has talked about them now. The players have, I think, embraced those expectations, and Longhorn fans ultimately have embraced them too. I mean, Arch Manning is the Heisman favorite. Like that's unprecedented. We've never seen that in college football history, right? We've never seen a guy with this few stars. I don't know if he's still the Heisman favorite or not. I don't know. I mean, he is every other week I look at it. He's there, but he shouldn't even be really in the top 3. All right, the guy started 2 games. Like that's how high the expectations are right now at Texas, and I'm here for it. I actually think this team is going to perform well with that burden. I think this team is built for it. I think Sark has kind of acquired the right personality types to handle that kind of pressure because it's Texas football. But didn't Sark say the popularity is at its peak right now for Texas? He said that prior to the Arch years. So that's going to be an Arch bump in popularity. They averaged 8 million viewers per game last year. What's going to be the Arch bump? $1 million and a half, 2 million?
At least. Well, look, I think it's going to be so interesting because we're living the build-up, tear-down in athletics, right? People have done it to name the guy in pro sports. Arch was the first guy I ever saw it done to in high school. But everything is set up this season. I mean, if you're at SEC Media Days, and we all reported on it, people believe in Texas, but they also want to be able to tear down Texas. I mean, that's a good place to be, though. You have Texas back-to-back college football playoffs, semifinals, the number 1 recruiting class. Texas, number 1 recruiting class. Arch Manning now, game at Ohio State, went to the SEC champ. It couldn't be more perfect for a build-up, tear-down scenario.
It's true. Yeah.
But, Rod, I'm with you. I think Texas will answer the bell. I just think they have too many players. We're going to get into some of that here in a second, but on this show today, and we'll take your questions as well. We're going to talk a little recruiting later, but it's the ultimate. People want to see programs like Texas fail as much as they want to see them have success. And I think it's being built up that way so people can have it either way.
Mm-hmm. That's why the ratings are high. You can't get ratings that high if only your fans are watching. People are watching. It's like the Dallas Cowboys. That's why Dallas Cowboys are the most watched team in the NFL, because half the people watching or hate watching it.
Yes,
the Longhorns. So a lot of people are hate watching the Longhorns, and I get it. I totally understand. I would if I'm a Georgia fan, I wouldn't like Texas right now either. Yeah. It's the biggest threat to your dynastic run you got going on here.
Yeah, I mean it's that way. Duke basketball's that way, right? I mean, there was a 30 for 30 call. I hate Christian Laettner, right? I mean, there was it was a great documentary on kind of Duke basketball and all that. It's the same things, right? I mean, yes, Texas hasn't won a title since 05, but it's the same things. There's certain few schools in college athletics where people want to tune in to hate as much as they want to see them win. And Texas has entered that category again in football, in my opinion. They weren't there for a while, but they're now back.
No, trust me. I mean, prior to Sark, we went through 10 plus years where, people didn't need to hate Texas because they mocked Texas. And now I think now that the mocking is done, it's like, these guys could be a real threat. And I think people were hoping that Sark wasn't the real deal. And it seems like now, after seeing the kind of linear ascent of Texas, where it's gone, but not like Tom Herman. Tom Herman, you had the 2018 season in 2019. It's like, oh man, what's going on with the program? Start every year, the program gets inches a little bit closer. And it seems like that was kind of what Kirby went through. Ryan Day, I guess, went through it. It seems like that was Jim Harbaugh. It seems like that has been more the path. Now you get your Ed Orgerons coming out of nowhere to win it all and stuff like that. But for the most part, the path has been, I'm getting close. Finally, I knocked the door down. And Texas is they're in that position right now.
This is a problem. Jenny, where's Bobby? I don't know.
No, we're supposed to have his back. What are you talking about? You know how that goes. Where's Bobby? Bobby said he had a meeting. I remember he said something. I remember being a wingman. He said something about a meeting. I think you remember he said something about a meeting. I think and then he can make the meeting whatever he wants to. So I remember being a good wingman. He's got to come up with something off the cuff.
Yeah. Bobby will be back.
Yeah. Hey, before we move on, Rod, I do got a question from you from the chat. QBreaker77 sub says, "Hey Rod, 1 week before training camp starts, did you continue to push hard in workouts, or do you rest your body to get ready for the season?"
Yeah, you dial it down. They probably are already in kind of a dial it down phase leading up to. Now remember, I had real 2-a-days. These dudes, I love them, but these dudes ain't doing no real 2-a-days, man. Sark already got the NFL mindset. I did take pride in being a good wingman. Thank you very much, Eric, because I took a lot of pride in that. But yeah, remember, Sark, the spring was, kind of a clinical, spring. No, Jenny, I got your back too. I know what Bobby is. You got all kind of stuff, trackers on him and everything. He ain't getting lost. But I had, we had a tougher, it was just a much more physical training camp. And by the way, I think the way they're doing it now is probably the way you should do it. With a longer season, Sark is going to ease them into it anyway. And I think you should give yourself as fresh legs as you can going in. So you work out, of course. That's never a day you go without working out as a high-level athlete. I mean, you have these little days where you call them off days, but you still go out there and get a jog in and get a workout and something like that. So I think you dial it back even before then, back in my day. Now a week, I think it's fine because you'll ease into training camp anyway.
All right, guys, I need to tell everyone about one of our sponsors today. That's Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. And if you've been injured in a car wreck of any kind, from 18-wheeler to ATV, and you think you might be due some compensation, well, then reach out to Adam and his team for a free, no-strings-attached consultation. That's LowyLawFirm.com. And Adam has 20 years of helping injured Texans. And also, I got to give a big shout out to Adam as well, real quick, guys, before we move on here. Because Adam does this every year, and he calls it Clear the List. You go online, and what he does is he buy, like teachers put on Amazon lists, and he goes, and I mean, it's not just for like Longhorns fans. I mean, I saw him do it for a couple of new Aggie teachers and things like that, but he goes and clears their list and really helps teachers out across the state there. So that's a prime example. He actually helped my wife out as well. That's from her classroom yesterday. But a big thank you to Adam for doing that each and every year. So appreciate it.
Good message.
I just want to say, Josie, I got your back, man. I always got your back. I'm about to send you a pair of Marcus Mariota autographed Oregon cleats. So, I got your back.
Oh, man. Josie, poor Josie. Let's talk defensive backs, Jerry. I know you wanted to kind of get into that this morning. Yeah. I'm gonna let you take it away with that.
Well, we got a question on OL and wide receiver depth. We're going to get to your questions on this. I want to get Rod B's thoughts on defensive backs, because I do think it's going to be interesting how defensive back shakes out in fall camp. Mm-hmm. Jalen Gilbo played corner in the spring. Does that guarantee he's going to be a corner? I don't think it does, Rod. So I think Texas is mixing and matching, kind of trying to figure out where their best 5 guys are going to be. When you look at the defensive back position, what do you think is still has to be decided here in fall camp? And then we'll hit on some of the younger guys as well in that secondary.
Yeah, it's because it's multi-layered to me. That whole Ohio State game being that first game, it really throws it off, because even Sark said, right, they're going to take the first basically 2 weeks and have a training camp of a fall camp, and then they're going to do Ohio State kind of breakdown and preparation, and then basically Ohio State will get two straight weeks is basically what he's saying of preparation, right? So I think if I'm looking at it, ultimately I need to find a Ohio State solution, and first and foremost, that's the best wide receiving core in the country. Yeah. So what's your most immediate answer, right, for your starting 5 against the best wide receiving core in college football? Now, maybe that doesn't matter as much because Texas pass rush is going to be really good going up against a new starting quarterback. To me, that's concerning. Not concerning, but I need to prioritize it and figure I need to have a solution ready to go for Ohio State, in addition to coming up with my best starting 5, which Coach Akeen is all about. I'm calling you Cade Phillips. No, Cade Phillips is legit. You guys know I'm a big fan. I said even before Cade Phillips committed, after watching him at a camp, I told him at the time that you got it, what it takes, young man, to play at the next level. It's no doubt about it. That was easy to see. But I think the question is, who is the corner opposite Malik Muhammad? And then that leads you to the next question is, if that's Jalen Gilbo, then fine. Then who is your nickel? Mm-hmm. And do you feel like your options are stronger at that corner position to get your best 5 out there? Would Jalen Gilbo be a liability? That is a good question. We'll get into that. Or will, to get your best 5 out there, is it going to be, whoever you end up putting out there in nickel? That to me, they got to figure out. If Derek Williams started out the season completely healthy, I wouldn't disagree with a starting 5 or a best 5 of 3 safeties instead of, because if you want to have a package that's your big nickel package, which they used last year in that Vanderbilt game. Yeah. So that's the big issue. They are pretty solid. I mean, Malik Muhammad, Taft, you got Jalen Gilbo's a returning starter for you. I think Jelani McDonald is a starter caliber player as well. You got Derek Williams, who's going to come back healthy toward the end of the year. At the beginning of the year. So I think the only question to me is, who's starting opposite Malik Muhammad, and is Gilbo going to be that guy? And if not, Gilbo at nickel, who goes to that corner spot? And to me, I feel like right now they want Gilbo at the corner. Unless something happens in training camp with the young bucks, Grayson Littleton, Cade Phillips, Warren Roberson's had a great spring as well. Unless one of those guys starts to separate, I think that Ohio State game they may put Gilbo there, and try to protect the nickel somehow. But I've said it before, that nickel spot is hard to play.
That's what I was wondering. Ohio State game,
it's tough to play.
Do you start Kobe Black at corner and Gilbo at nickel because he's played it for so long in that game, and then maybe to adjust the 3 games after that? One of my thoughts is what you see game 1, I'm not sure is what you're going to be at game 5.
Totally agree. That's what I said. There's a Ohio State solution. I think you're right, Jerry, because those guys have at least Kobe Black has played. All right, has gotten impact reps on the field. Jalen Gilbo returning starter Malik. So against that group of Ohio State, especially DBs that have already seen them and there's familiarity, at least with some of the personnel there, I think that's your strongest option to just go with the guys who have the most experience. But I'm with you. I think by the time you start SEC play, or by the time you're at midseason past the Oklahoma game, your secondary may start to look a little different. And it did that. Remember, Malik Muhammad made one of those moves.
Yep.
When he started to, Jelani McDonald was that guy last year that started to, come up late and step up. So I just think it depends on those young corners, man. A lot's going to depend on Rowan Robinson. I'm kind of throwing in that group too, but those corners who are unproven commodities, that who's going to step up out of that group? Who's your money on? I love Mr. Kate Phillips. I ain't gonna lie, but I've been hearing great things about Grayson Littleton. Like multiple people are telling me stuff about Grayson Littleton. I'm like, what is going? I gotta start. I gotta go. I gotta reach out. When there's some time and ask Coach Aquino about him, because I'm hearing a lot of things about him. I know about Kate Phillips. I did not expect to hear Grayson Littleton's name as much.
And I did not know how quickly. Look, Grayson Littleton coming from Wiregrass Ranch in the Tampa area, kind of played all over the place, right? For them, they had to win games. So nobody, if the guy ends up being a great nickel early on, nobody could have seen that coming. Even the schools that recruited it, because he hadn't played it. He played receiver, he played corner, he played safety. He's played special teams. He kind of played all over the place. So he's a guy that just football IQ wise has gone way beyond what anybody thought, because everybody knew how athletic he was. But I just think he's gone way beyond what other people have thought. I think Rod, one of the interesting things is Lance Miles asked about Jordan Johnson-Rebel. I think the backup, we talk about the starters a lot, but boy, there is a ton of safety depth at Texas right now. When you think about it, you have Michael Taft and you have Jelani McDonald, who can spin and play bigger nickel, right? You have Derek Williams coming off injury. We'll see where he's at fall camp, but should be good to go by this season if there's not a setback. Then you have Jonah Williams. Then you have Zealous Hicks. Zealous Hicks got some mention at SEC Media Days, and he was having a really good spring, tweaked his back in that freshman class. You have Jordan Johnson-Rebel, who's a very solid football player, and you have Xavier Phil-Same. I mean, that's a lot of depth at safety. Yeah. And Rod, what Bobby and I have been talking about is Jordan Johnson-Rebel and Xavier Phil-Same. I pronounce his name wrong every time. They have to hold off two really talented freshmen, Jonah Williams and Zealous Hicks. I mean, this is a huge fall camp for those guys, because those guys right behind them are really, really talented. Safety is going to be fascinating for me to see how it plays out over the season, because you have Taft, and he'll probably play 65, 70 snaps a game. Mm-hmm. Then after that, depending on where Derek Williams is, depending on what does Jonah Williams look like as a freshman, Zealous Hicks again. I mean, Michael Taft mentioned him. There's a lot of depth at safety, Rod.
It's I think I'm with you. I wonder how the dime package is going to look. Right, last year they had the 6 DB package, and they put mostly coverage guys on the field. I do wonder, when you're completely healthy at safety, if you end up with 3, even 4 safeties on the field potentially at times in some of those packages, depending on the matchup. So they have an embarrassment of riches there. That's why I think ultimately, you could get a lot more big nickel this year. Yeah, just putting Jelani McDonald out there, maybe just situationally, because they're deep there, and you're gonna get just more packages overall. That's what I like about the Johnny Nansen influence on Texas. They're just more multiple, and that means you play more guys because you have these different packages. Remember, they had a 3D tackle package last year. Yep. They had the NASCAR package last year. They had a dime package finally last year. Just the versatility lets you play all these freaks of nature you got on the roster.
All right, guys, let's see here. We got a couple of super chats that we need to jump into here from Jerry's Jack Links while we're talking about defensive backs. And he says, am I crazy to be more excited to see Dwayne Aquina running around on the sidelines than I am to see Arch?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
I love Coach Aquina. I love him with all my heart. I do. Well, yeah. But I would say the impact of Coach Aquina It can't be quantified, man. He brings so much to the table. So he's gonna bring out the best in all those guys, but also he's gonna put the best 5 out there. And I can't wait to see what Coach Akina what he believes is the best 5, DBs out there. Because sometimes, like I said, remember I played with Quinn Jammer, Ahmad Brooks, Nathan Vasher. Both of them played corner and safety. I mean, all 3 of them played corner and safety at one point in their career. And a big part was when he came, Ahmad Brooks lost his job at corner, went to Coach Aquino, was like, man, can I go compete? I want to play. And he was like, well, I think, we got a competition at safety. You can win it. You got it. He literally let him go over there and he won it. He ended up winning the job. Like, that's how Coach Aquino works. He's like, I'm going to put the best 5 out there. And so if you want to play, and that they have a lot of position flex right now and they're cross-training guys, you'll see guys in some different places that, just makes more sense to overall for the effectiveness of the defense.
And we've had a lot of, Jerry, you actually brought it up a minute ago, a lot of questions about offensive line depth, things like that. Let's talk about that for a moment. Ryan from Shiner, can y'all walk us through the O-line depth chart? That's a concern at this point. G-Man 345. Jerry, Rod, any concern about wide receiver or offensive line depth? But let's stick with offensive line.
Yeah. So obviously left to right, it's going to be Trevor Gooseby, Nato, Cole Hudson, DJ Campbell, Brandon Baker. That's going to be your ones to start August, right? First practice. I got behind that. I think Nick Brooks is second team left tackle. I think Nate Kibble is going to be your second team left guard. Connor Robertson, second team center. By the way, Daniel Cruz is going to be a tremendous player. Just give that a little time. Second team right guard, to be determined probably in that battle. Where does Jaden Chapman factor in? Second team right tackle, Andre Kojo. I'm not really concerned about depth on the offensive line. I think they have a lot of really talented young kids. Like Nate Kibble had a great redshirt year. Not good, great. Like they would have played him if there had been an injury at one of the guard spots over an extended period of time. We talked about Nick Brooks. I mean, if Nick Brooks had a great spring, now he's super motivated after his deal. What's he going to look like now that he's a little more comfortable in August, Rod? I mean, he got the hard part behind him, the spring practice as an offensive lineman coming out of high school, and he excelled really well to the point of even getting a few reps at right tackle. That tells you how quickly he was picking things up. You just don't do that with a true freshman offensive lineman. So I think Nate Kibble I think they got great depth at center. I think some of the depth at guard has to kind of work itself out. But I think Texas is I like where they're at. They just don't have game starts, but they're not inexperienced in the program either.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask Tony Hills when he comes on. And yes, T. Hills is coming on. I saw folks asking about it in the chat. How does the offensive line get chemistry? Like, how do you expedite that? How do you expedite that cultivation of, chemistry and continuity with an O-line? Because in the offseason, the DBs, we can go 7-on-7, that kind of stuff. I wonder what O-linemen do. I got to ask him about that.
Hey, Tony, let's bring him in.
Boom!
There he is.
Bring him in.
There he is. Good morning, Tony Hill.
Hey, what's happening, man? Listen, I hear y'all talking about the O-line, the continuity. First and foremost, we have to acknowledge that we have I call him Mr. Babers, man. This is OG right here. Listen, OG has the most infectious smile of any Longhorn to ever grace the 40 acres, man. I am so honored to be in the presence of the man himself, man. What's happening, Coffee and Football? We here. What we talking about? What we want to talk about? I'm here for it.
Rod just threw the question out there for you.
That's boom. I love it.
Hey, offensive line, building that continuity. You saw the guys in the spring. That depth. What did you see depth-wise and kind of building that continuity on this offensive line as we're a week away from the start of practice? It's here.
Yeah, no. Listen, so Texas is too deep at all 5 positions, period and point blank. I know that the game starts are not there, but as it pertains to them, as far as them being in the program and understanding what to do and how to do it, they're coached up, they're ready to go. And at the end of the day, you only get better by playing the game. As it pertains to being able to find continuity, I can tell you a story, man. One of the things that we did, we talk about the 04-05 season. One of the things that Vince was very good at, it was getting us together, right? And so when we did 7-on-7, we would run offensive line, defensive line, pass rush drills. right? And so obviously we would take care of each other, but it'd be the same thing that you do like with one-on-ones. And if you had on spiders, right, we would do the exact same thing in shirts and t-shirts, just working our craft, working our hands. And what better way to do it than to practice against some of the guys that, were, draft eligible, some of the top guys to ever come out of Texas, first round picks here, fourth round picks there. We were coaching each other and getting better. Hey, Tim, if I'm setting on a 45 set and you're on a wide 5, what are you seeing? What are you looking for? Hey, Tony, the reason I was able to get you here is because you opened up your shoulders. The last time you got me is because you stayed square. Like, hey, I'm looking to catch that outside hand. Don't shoot it so quick. Like, these things are the small details that allowed us to get better. So now what happens is that we were getting practice, like we're facing the top defense in the country. It just so happens to be on our team. So when we go out there and play other people, man, not only are we prepared and we're confident, but we're also connected because of all of that time that we spent together off the field as well as on the field. So that's how you build that, man. You just continue to grow, continue to learn from the people that have done it and just get better. And then when it comes down to the actual game, you're ready to go out there and do what you need to do because you've done it so much in practice.
That's money. I love it. I love it. I got to ask you something because you said something last time I was on that blew my mind. And I've been telling people about it all the time. It's been repeating your words. So I know my man T Hills knows his stuff. And this is what he said. It was a hot take. You said something on the lines. I want you to elaborate a little bit that after losing Kelvin Banks and Cam Williams at tackle, Texas may be more athletic now.
Yep. Yep.
Do you remember it, don't you?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah. He said it multiple times.
Yeah,
would you please elaborate on that? I want you, because now I'm like, I tell people, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm telling you, that's what he said. I make sure I tell them you said it, because if I said, they be like, yo, what the hell are you talking about? You said it. To elaborate on that a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the reality of it is this. I've been saying this before we even got into spring ball. I wanted to make sure that I threw this out there, and I'm going to tell you where it came from. It came from me watching the film of the guys that we had previously, and then seeing these guys in practice, right? Seeing Baker, seeing Gooseby. And I want people to understand what I'm saying so that I can be very specific when I say more athletic. Obviously, when we talk about Banks, right? And we talk about Big Dog and Philly, right? These guys have a tremendous amount of experience, and they were very dominant in what they did. Kelvin Banks has athleticism. Don't get it twisted. But what made Kelvin is his consistency. Like, every step is perfect. Every zone step is perfect. Every hand placement is perfect. He was a walking model of how you play consistent line play, right? In at that position at left tackle. And so when you're looking, which is why he went first round, when you're looking for a guy, you want a guy who is technically sound, athletic enough to stay with your fastest pass rushers, who has that strength and that bendability. He checks off all the dots on the board, right? He checks it off, right? When I'm talking about athleticism, I'm talking about movability, vertical, speed, being able to get out on perimeters and get up to safeties and things of that nature on a consistent basis. There's a video out with Trevor Gooseby on the basketball court. No shirt on, by the way, so that automatically shows you his confidence and his ability.
Yes.
His id gap muscle is on 10,000. All right. But going up effortlessly and dunking a basketball on the windmill at 6'7", 315 pounds. I've seen Baker get out on the perimeter and run, right? And so when I'm looking at these guys, I'm saying, yo, these guys have more athleticism than the tackles that we had before. Now, does that translate to them being better? Only time will tell from that standpoint. And the bar is set extremely high, which is great, right? I'll tell you this, just from my personal experience with talking to both of them and kind of having that time to hang out when I was down there, they have the mentality to want to be the best that ever came out of Texas. So when you take that athleticism, when you take that mentality, when you take that work ethic, right, and then you plug that in with a Coach Flood and his team, this is where my confidence comes from and where I'm so excited to see these guys go out and do their thing, because now with the mastermind of Sarkisian understanding who his offensive line is, there was things that he had to hold back because athletically, I just can't get that done on this side. There's no holding back now. Hey, if I want to run wide receiver bubble screen routes to the right, I got the tackles to do it. If I'm going to go wide receiver bubble screen to the left, I got the tackles to do it. There's nothing that is outside of the capability of athleticism that Sark can't pull up on that sheet. And you know this man is a mastermind. So I'm excited about it. I see more screens, perimeter screens and things of that nature happening. So, Rod, you're the statistic guy. I'm going to land the plane. You're the statistic guy. Yeah. Find the statistics on the amount of bubble screens we ran and screens that we ran last year versus these next coming years.
Okay.
Hey, Rod, before your next question, I got to hit Tony with something. You don't know this. Now, I told you this show was going to be a banger, Rod. We got corn dogs with mayo out of the way. Now it's time for the old. This is Tony Hill's
my God.
world, man.
Dude, you're starting in the morning. How can you eat that in the morning?
Breakfast of champions, baby. Corn dog with mayo.
Oh,
yeah.
My stomach is hurting just thinking about it. Oh,
hey man. When we get off here, Jerry, I'm gonna send you my address, please. if I've ever been a brother to you, please send them.
Oh man, you're gonna have the bubble guts early in the morning.
Hey man, I got not me, sir. I got probiotics. I popped the oatmeal cream pie and the probiotic at the same time with a coffee.
That's how you know you're an old man now, T Hill. You probably the probiotic.
Hey, clean gut, man. Gotta have a clean gut.
Hey, Tony, we asked the Rod this, but I wanted to ask you. Week out from practice, what was your mindset at start of practice? Did you dial it back a little bit from the workout standpoint, or did you dial anything back? Kind of where was your mindset at the week out from practice?
Yeah. For me, dialing the workout back, yes, as it pertains to like loading up bars and things like that, increased more flexibility, mobility work, trained with my man, Donnie Mabe, Big Donnie, got my hands right. And for, hand-to-hand combat and things like that, increased film study. I wanted my mind to be as sharp as my body. And so I believe that is the most important thing that you can do going into the week. Because the thing is that when you get to a certain point to where you think you know what you're doing, right? And then the elevation is, I actually do know what I'm doing. And then the elevation goes from not only do I know what I'm doing and I know how to do it, now I'm looking at how you're going to attack my weaknesses because I've been able to identify what my strengths and weaknesses are and how to operate in my strengths so well, right, that you can expose me consistently on my weaknesses. Here's another thing that I looked at too. When I was talking to a couple of guys that was at Texas, one of the things that I used to focus on is I would train on my weaknesses, right? Like, okay, this is a weakness of mine. I need to train on that. Until I talked to a particular person in business who talked to me about how he never trains on his weaknesses. And that threw me. Because I'm like, okay, well, don't we want our weaknesses to get stronger? He said, you would have a much better outcome if you trained your strengths and your strengths became so dominant that your weaknesses couldn't be exposed. So that's the same message that I give to the line. Like, look, your weaknesses are what your weaknesses are. If you can't get that 3 cut off with a drop step, but you can get it cut off with a spin off, work the spin off. Throw the drop step out the window, right? Whatever the thing is that is causing you not to have success, but there's a substitute to it that allows you to do it, focus on that, man. So like those minute details of offensive line play, that's the mental intrinsic game of this position. And then understanding how defenses want to attack you, looking at safety rotations, looking at the depths of linebackers, looking at the spacing of defensive line. Hey, if I got a tight 3 on me or a wide 3 and a tight 5 on me, let me talk to my guard. You want to talk about us being in sync. You know what I mean? Check, twist on, like setting vertical, vert. Like these things are the things that Casey Studdard used to teach me. Jay Scott used to teach me. Blaylock used to teach me. Will Allen, Centerline, all of these guys that used to teach me these things so that now Gooseby stands in that position. Campbell stands in that position. Now you teach your guys so that we can all be a unit. The reason I love offensive line so much, bro, is it doesn't matter how great one individual is. If 4 people are great and 1 people fail, we all fail. That is the most interesting position because it doesn't matter if 4 people did their job right. If 1 person didn't, we all fail. So we all got to be locked in. I love this space.
There's very few things in sports where there's a team within a team. And an offensive line is a team within a bigger team. And there has to be great continuity and communication. It's like the Texas secondary was this way last year. It's like being a great half-court basketball defensive team in a way. You have to be great communicators, and everybody has to be on the same page, have each other's back. I love what Tony said, because I do think that's the biggest challenge these guys have going into Ohio State, Tony, is they have experience in the program.
Yep.
There's going to be 100,000 people throwing batteries and everything else at them up in Columbus.
Yep.
And the communication has to be on point from Cole Hudson in that setting with these guys who are Brandon Baker maybe starting his first college game.
Yep.
Thank goodness Trevor Gooseby got a couple of starts last year, right?
Yep.
NATO, first start in college. I mean, this is a big atmosphere that Cole Hudson has to kind of direct in 38 days.
But the beautiful thing about it is, what better floor general would we rather have directing it than a Cole Hudson, with all the experience that he has and the wisdom that he has as it pertains to watching a Jake Majors.
Yeah.
Right. Being able to soak up that game, not only to understand how to play the position, right, from a physical standpoint, but how to prepare your guys mentally. What was the one thing that we knew about Jake Majors? We knew he was going to be prepared, and he was going to have his guys ready to go do battle.
Yeah.
I believe that Cole Hudson is going to lead that mark the same way. But he also has a friend in Trevor Gooseby, because I'm telling you guys, this guy's mentality, like I've sat down and talked to Trevor like one-on-one, just me and him, and I'll never disclose the things that we talk about, but I will disclose this. This guy has yellow jacket aspirations now. So when you see, Trevor Gooseby's clocking at 21 miles per hour on the trip, that doesn't surprise me. When you see, Trevor Gooseby is leading the pack as it pertains to the work, that doesn't surprise me, because when I tell you this guy's mentality at his age is unprecedented. I've only rarely seen young kids that talk the way he talks, that thinks the way he thinks. And then here's the beautiful thing. It's not just words. You're seeing the words line up with actions. Because as the good book says, man, look, running your mouth, faith without works is what? Dead. So we're seeing his intrinsic mentality show up extrinsically on the field. Listen, call me biased, but I know when I'm seeing something that's special. And these guys, regardless of what the expectation is, these 5 guys have a higher level of expectation for themselves than any of us have on them. And that's what you want. They don't.
By the way, that runs in the family. The younger brother Austin Gooseby is one of the top basketball prospects in the country, and he's got the same mentality and way of thinking and way of attacking.
That brother's smooth, Jerry. I've watched him play too. That brother is smooth, man.
Yes. Oh, he's legit. He's a future NBA guy. Should be a first rounder one day. We're going to do an On Texas basketball show later to update everybody on recruiting. We'll have Jeff Howell, and I'll have that later today, by the way.
I did see in the chat, since everybody's talking about how Mantia's always preaching. Amen, by the way. Jason said, great name for your segment is Trench Church. Love it.
Okay. All right, let's talk to Bobby.
Tony, I get those hoodies of Trench Church made right now.
Come on,
This is a signature morning look for me, man.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, let me ask you this, because you've several times referred to something I think can be like considered a secret sauce for certain players.
Yeah.
In their development. You've talked about how teammates have to critique and help one another, that communication. And I remember those sessions, like, hanging out with Sims, hanging out with my boy Kyle Shanahan. Some of my best friends on the team were offensive guys, so we just sit there and talk ball. And my mind would be blown when they started talking about offense, and I'd be like, damn, I didn't realize it was a simple, I didn't realize that about the route tree. And it was like, oh yeah, every time we do this, then basically, by 80% chance that this is going to be the outcome. And there were just certain things I picked up on in those relationships. And you talked about that even when you get to the league and the communication, the sharing of knowledge, right? You just talked about somebody told you, no, work on your strengths, man. Make those elite. To hell with working on your weaknesses. I think people, no, we really don't really quantify it. And I think that's a big part of individual development. How much being a student, consistently. Always willing to learn from teammates, from others who play the game. I mean, you talk about watching film a lot too. That's kind of self-education, but being willing to learn and to evolve your craft. I mean, you seem to have acquired a lot of knowledge that way, just being a constant student of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so Rod, you got to think about it, bro. All right. I got to look at a young Brian Orakpo and understand how his thought process was. A veteran Brian Robinson, Tim Crowder, right? These guys. Sergio Kendall, how he wanted to move. Then you level up, man. I get to Lamar Woodley, James Harrison, Cameron Wake, Von Miller, Elvis Dumerville. You see what I'm saying? Like Dwight Freeney, Hall of Famer, Robert Mathis, right? These are guys that were my teammates. So when I go to them and I say, hey, this is how I look to set on certain things. Yeah. Where do you look to find the weakness or the exposure? Hey, honestly, bro, you my teammates, so I'll give you this one. If you set me this way, regardless if I'm able to drive you back to the quarterback, I'm not going to be able to get there in time. So just by having the proper body position with the knee flexibility in this particular strike, it's going to cause problems for me. Okay, great. So now when I go and I find a player, I have an identifying factor. Oh, this dude like Robert. Oh, this dude like Cam. He got a good get off. Oh, this dude is freaky athletic like Vaughn. You got to play him this way, right? There's body types and similarities with players, right? So that's what allowed me to last as a player that was a journeyman / starter / they call me slash, right? You have to be able to identify what your value is. And for me, my value was to understand defensive concepts and to be able to play really well outside, but very good in the middle. Even center positions, emergency center, if we needed to, I could do it because I knew exactly what was happening. And it was moving me inside to center that gave me more understanding as a tackle. So most tackles are looking at what's happening to the left of them, right? Rarely, unless we're called back inside because there's some sort of scat protection, meaning no back in the backfield, and we have to protect the gaps. Most of the time, we're blocking the end or some sort of pressure outside. But when I'm able to understand safety rotations, because as a center, I know who the mic is, I'm micing the mic before the center tell me who the mic is. So that gives me that much more time to evaluate. It's these type of things that I learned from individuals that I played with that are the nuances of the game that a lot of other people are just not doing because I'm a tackle. No, not at the next level, brother. You are a lineman. You better figure it out. Right?
I love it.
If you're not stapled as a starter, you're a lineman.
Hey, you know what? All those things you said, great things. You know what? I one of the things I took away from that, guys, Tony and Rod. One of the things we heard about Justice Terry, and I think you heard this too, Tony, probably. Yes. Justice Terry during spring ball, or since he's been in Austin, would walk up to a Trevor Gooseby or a Cole Hudson and say, if I did this, what would you do to me? Hey, freshman.
Yep.
Freshman.
Boom.
Yep.
Freshman's doing that. Watch out for that guy long term that has a frame like that. Jeez.
Yeah. That goes because listen, the coaches can give you the concepts, but the players give you the experience.
Boom.
The coaches can give you the concepts, but the players give you the experience.
I'm writing that down. I like
absolutely. That. Please do. Take it, use it, run with it. And I hope everybody that's watching this episode, man, get it out. Talk to the young guys, talk to these high school players, talk to the middle school players. Let them understand this because these are the secret sauces to being able to play almost a decade in the NFL.
Yep.
Being able to see things differently than everybody else, doing things differently than everybody else. Even when we talk about business, right? Nobody got there by doing it the same way everybody else did it. They might have taken some things, but there were nuances that flipped. What makes Coffee and Football one of the top shows on this YouTube platform is because we do things a little different than what other streaming shows do that are talking about ball. Right? It's all about the differences and the nuances. When you can play within the gaps, man, it takes you to a higher level.
Love it.
Plus, we got the best fans in all of college sports. So, I mean, that's, you know.
Man, pass the collection plate.
Come on now. Yeah. I only need 5%. Y'all can keep the other 5 for y'all.
Trench Church was born today.
I think so.
Who said, keep track of who said that in the chat.
It's Jason. It was Jason. I remember. I don't remember his last name, but I remember it was Jason. I wrote that down. Good job.
That may just be a show.
I think T. Hills need to take it and just copyright it and then use that forever.
Hey, now listen. Somebody said they donating oatmeal pies. Whoever that person is, God bless you, sir.
Not me.
There's going to be a blessing from heaven that rains down on your family right now. I proclaim it. I proclaim it.
Oh my goodness!
Thank you as always, T. Hills, man. Have a great one. Well, hey, what time is it?
Hey, you know what? It's funny that you say that. I was just talking to somebody, Jerry, about the importance of time. I was telling them, listen, man, time is the one thing that you can never get back. But as it pertains to time, it's 9:04, and OU knows that they still suck. Hooking for life.
My man, hooking, brother.
Tony.
All right, guys.
Money. Dude, that I'm telling you, Trench Church works for him.
That's a winner.
It is a winner. I mean, whether he wants to use it as coaching, like coaching can be coaching school for old linemen, or whether he wants to use it as a podcast platform.
Yeah.
Like this segment, Trench Church and T. Hills. That's money. So great job, Jason, on that.
Something with Hills may have to be changed to Trench Church.
For sure.
It's on the table.
Well, we got a lot more to talk about. We're going to take your questions and your super chats. We haven't forgot about those by any means. But first, Jerry, I'm going to let you tell everyone about one of our sponsors this morning, South Point Dodge.
Man, just did you roll after Trench Church? Just roll up to Texas games in a South Point Dodge. Hey, Texas football fans, score an easy point this season when you get to the point at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. Get the real deal today and drive away in an all-new Ram proven to last. Plus, you can get employee incentive pricing. That's right. You pay what our employees pay. Now, that sounds like a great deal and a real deal to me. So score big today at South Point Dodge. Come see us off I-35 in South Austin or at southpointdodge.com. Get to the point at South Point Dodge.
Thank you, Jerry. And I need to tell everyone about one of our other sponsors this morning, Huel. That's Huel. Huel, their Black Edition ready to drink is a complete meal that's ready when you are. Toss it in your bag, hit the road, and fuel up without missing a beat. It's a total game changer. It's a perfectly balanced meal that'll save you some time. It tastes good. It's good for you. 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, high fiber, low sugar. You're going to feel full, focused, and ready for your day. And Huel's already sold over 500 million meals across the world, and now it's your turn to try it. New customers get 15% off plus a free gift at Huel.com when you use promo code ONTexas. And, of course, we're gearing up for football season here at OTF, which means I'm busy, don't always have time to cook a meal. But with Huel, I get a complete meal, and I get it on the go. Like I said, it saves me time. It saves me money. So start saving your own time and money without compromising your nutrition today by heading over to Huel.com. That's Huel, Huel.com. Use promo code ONTexas to get that 15% off and a free gift. Please see the description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition bottled. Well, while we were on the show this morning, one of my favorite things in late July that I monitor. I figured it'd be coming out this week, and lo and behold, it did. But Vegas has put out odds, fellas, for the first college football coach to be fired this season. And these just came out about an hour ago here. Not a good day to be named Brent, because Brent Brennan and Brent Venables.
Brent Pry.
Yeah,
hey, there's Brent Napier and Brent Freeze. Brent Gundy.
Woo. Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all's thoughts, and we'll take it from there.
I mean, look, I'm not sure Arizona has the money, first of all, but let's get through that. And I'm not sure how much they really care. Basketball is still the deal there. Then you get to the SEC, and you get 4 of the next 5. Brent Venables, he has the schedule to get fired. Sam Pittman may have the players to get fired. Hugh Freeze may have the quarterback that gets him fired. And Billy Napier could have the injuries that get him fired. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Oklahoma has such a tough schedule, man. I've said the same. I've said the same thing. If he goes 8-4 this year and they fire him, I'm not sure that's even justified with that schedule.
It depends if they beat Texas, though. If he was 8-4 and beats Texas, he's good.
He's good. Right. Great point. Great point. So what's the number? What's his number to keep his job on a schedule like that? I mean, that's the hard thing for me. Is what is your number with that schedule where you get fired? Is it 7-5?
Yeah. At Oklahoma, I feel like that. Now that he's got a boss, basically, don't we feel like Jim Nagy is actually his boss?
I mean, is he already interviewing the next guys? He was at the SEC media days. I mean, like,
yeah, he's
did he have dinner with Eli Drinkwitz or something? Who knows?
Yeah, he'd always say he's not my guy. I didn't hire him. I'm with you, Jerry. I don't really know what that number is, but if he beats Texas, all that changes. So I think he knows that too. I think it can really change his fortune, and that's why there's a lot on John Mateer this year. If John Mateer can replicate what he did at Washington State there with Ben Arbuckle in that offense, I think Venables will have more than a respectable defense. They'll be one of the better defenses in the SEC. I trust Venables when it comes to defense. What he hasn't been able to figure out is the offensive side of the ball. His best offense is when he brought in Jeff Lebby and Dylan Gabriel, so he's trying the same kind of experiment there too.
Hey, by the way, Michael Golden brings up something really important in all that when you talk about Oklahoma. They have a new AD coming in. And when a new AD comes in, let's see where he comes in from. And who is this guy? Who's he hired in the past? I mean, we've seen this stuff. Connections CDC has had the coaches, but prior to Texas and how that's impacted Texas, whenever there's a new AD hire, it's a great point, Michael Golden. You have to, whenever somebody hires a new AD, the first thing I do is look at his history, who he's hired, where he's been, where are some of those coaches, because he probably worked his way up the ladder. So who are some of those young coaches he hired at a previous stop, and where are they now and how are they doing? Something to really watch there with Oklahoma for sure.
It's a great point.
On the flip side of this, fellas, the safest coaches, according so the safest coaches according to Vegas is going to be Dabo.
Well, we're out of
Marcus Freeman, Dan Lanning, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart. The no surprises, Sark is in there as well, but Dion is also with the same odds as those guys. And then you ready for this one? I didn't expect him to be considered this safe. Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bill Belichick said, because Bill Belichick is doing for North Carolina what Dion is kind of doing for Colorado.
That's true.
He's just making them relevant. Like that at this point, like, all right, are we going to win games? We don't really know if we're going to win games. But you know what's better than being irrelevant and losing? Being relevant and losing. Well, at least you're relevant. And right now, people are talking about North Carolina. I think they're going to have like a TV show now for them and everything. I mean, so that's kind of where Colorado is now. At least people are talking about you, even if it's not because you're winning games. There are two rules to entertainment: be good or be interesting. All right. And the Kardashians have learned, hey, we ain't good at anything. Let's be interesting. Yeah. Right? So, and Jerry Jones is like, I'm gonna try to be interesting too, because we ain't that good. And the Cowboys, it works for them. So I think that's the model they're taking. I got a question about this list. Who's the best coach on this list, in y'all's opinion?
On this could be fired list?
Could be fired list. Who's the best coach on it?
Well, Mike Gundy is, but he hasn't really translated to modern college football.
He said at Big 12 Media Days he changed. He said we hired some guys from the SEC to teach us about NIL and about recruiting. He really did. He basically said that. He was like, yeah, we weren't doing it. We were kind of he said we were essentially neglecting to be progressive with NIL. And now he said they're fully embraced. They just don't have a sugar daddy. They need a sugar daddy, and T-Bone Pickens passed away.
Hey, Brian Kelly not on this list.
Hold on.
Okay. I be on it somewhere.
I couldn't fit everybody on the screen.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So oddly enough, though, Mike Elko is plus 5,000. And then Brian Kelly is next in line at plus 6,000. So they consider Kelly safer than Elko, which is a little surprising.
Yeah, that's very surprising. By the way, on this list too, if Justin Wilcox is fired at Cal, watch for a couple of head coaches to make a defensive coordinator position open for this guy. He is one of the better defensive minds in college football. Cal is in a really tough spot. He's got a tough job there. But if it ends for him this year at Cal, he will be highly coveted in the D coordinator market if he wants to stay in college football. As would be Brent Venables if he.
I was going to say, yeah, Brent, but Brent, I don't know. Brent may decide, to take some time.
Yeah. Justin Wilcox, he would want to get rolled right back into it unless he goes to the NFL.
Exactly. I'm with you on that. So,
somebody asked, I'm going to hit this real quick. Have you seen Devon Benjamin in person? I haven't seen him play, but I've seen him in person coming out of a Texas, his unofficial visit, and he's a really good-looking prospect. He is built the right way, everything, the hip, the toe, the Q angle, all of it. Elite DB prospect.
Okay.
Well, let's hop into some super chats this morning because we do have quite a few of those. And let's start here with, let's see, Colt Zeeler. Hope I'm saying your last name right. If not, my apologies. But thank you for your super chat. He says, good morning from Phoenix, Arizona. What happened to Tom Herman on his way out? Why didn't it work? And how ugly was it? OTF spoils Longhorn Nation.
Woo. So,
how much time you got? I guess in short, I always say this about Tom Herman. By the time he left, he didn't have anybody advocating for him. Like the locker room had kind of turned on him. Remember his own coach, like the coaches on campus. Literally, they came out against at least the policy. Remember the policy on the eyes of Texas? I don't want to get back into that. That's like the Longhorns version of Colin Kaepernick. I don't want to get into it. But they were basically saying that no, there was a plan for the eyes of Texas, and Tom Herman kind of did his own thing. And he didn't have the fans on his side either, and didn't have the media on his side. I mean, there was no group. And I think his own boss, obviously, ultimately turned against him. But I don't think there was not one group that I can name that they were advocating for Tom Herman to stay. And I think most of all his players, he lost the locker room. He literally lost the locker room. And it wasn't all his fault. A lot of it was the eyes of Texas thing. And then everything kind of turned against Tom Herman at that time. He didn't do himself any favors, though.
No, and I've said this before. Look, if you're not genuine, then when things start going bad, you aren't going to have any support. If you're seeing this guy's been fake the whole time anyways, we're not. If you're genuine, though, you have a little more rope. But there was many things that Rod said, but I think, yes, Duke Carroll, bad with high school coaches. I've told that story before. It's just if you come across – if people don't believe you're not genuine, you're going to have issues unless you win big. That's all I got to tell you. I mean, you look at some of these guys – you know what, people can say what they want about a Joey McGuire, but he's a genuine dude. I've been to Cedar Hill High School for years. Nothing's ever changed. He is who he is, right? So those guys get a little more rope, right? If you know who they are and it's not a facade, if it's not an act, it's just a Jeff Traylor's a very genuine. You can go down the list of very genuine guys in this business, and Matt Painter in basketball at Purdue is known as that with his fellow coaches and everything. But if you're not genuine, you're going to have issues unless you win big. Bottom line.
Our next super chat this morning from Brandon Huey. He says, Chase Calicut, sad. Watch your circle.
And we're not going to talk about the whole situation with this, but why I wanted to bring this up is any athletes, kids, parents of athletes, you are who you roll with, man. You are who you roll with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I remember those days. I remember having to disassociate with certain guys that I was close with when I was in middle school and I was in high school. And as I got the scholarship to Texas and the NFL dream became more real, I had to stop hanging around guys who were making bad decisions and didn't have as much to lose as I did, frankly. And that's just the reality of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. If they care about you, they understand. If they care about, you accomplishing your dreams, they understand. Is they're living that kind of life and they don't want to, do the right thing. And what Sark say, who you are some of the time is who you are all the time. If they don't want to start to, get on the right track, then yeah, man, it's fine to leave them. And you shouldn't feel bad about it. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
Then we have a super chat from Jay Lee this morning. Thank you, Jay. He says, I'm sick of OU fans crying about their schedule versus ours. I genuinely believe ours is just as hard as theirs, if not harder. I don't know about that. Your thoughts?
I know. I don't agree with that one, Jay Lee. We agree on a lot of stuff, but I think Oklahoma's got a brutally hard schedule. I think it's tougher than Texas. Now, Texas has the 3 really tough road games, right? Ohio State, Georgia, Florida. Mm-hmm. But if you just set their schedules next to each other, look, there's a different level of what Oklahoma has on this schedule. I mean, look, who would you have? Texas has Kentucky, even though it's a road game, and that is a sneaky road game. Mississippi State, Vanderbilt at home, Arkansas at home. I mean, you look at this schedule here, if you just go record to record last year, I mean, this is a brutally hard schedule for. That's why I said, does he make it at 8-4? He probably should get another year off this schedule. I think it's a really difficult schedule. I mean, Ole Miss, even though Ole Miss is home and LSU are home and Auburn's home, I mean, they're home games, but Auburn's got talent. I don't know if Freeze is going to pull it together, but they're talented and they're going to be better. LSU obviously has talent in quarterback play. Ole Miss, see what Austin Simmons does. They were not going to be as talented as last year. Drinkwitz does a great job at Missouri. Then you have road games with Alabama, South Carolina, who we call him Lenoris Newton. Then you're at Tennessee. Then, Texas, that's a brutal schedule, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Matthew right here says Texas plays one team that finished in the top 8 of SEC play. Georgia, Oklahoma plays the other 7.
Producer Matt with a stat right there.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Damn.
I mean, Brent Venables, that's a rough go when you move into the SEC and you get that schedule 2 years in a row. I mean, and then it'll flip for him a little bit next year, but that's a tough way to go into the SEC.
And with the college landscape changing drastically as they went to the SEC as well. Like it all flipped, and I think it's those things aren't helping Oklahoma. Some of those things are helping Texas. Like that decision, we'll talk about it before the show is over, that the College Sports Commission just came to a kind of an agreement with the power schools that they will be a little bit more flexible on the language in the new agreement. In terms of I think it was the viable business agreement that has to be actually an actual viable business purpose for these agreements. They said they're going to be flexible on that now. That stuff like that is helping Texas.
Yes.
I don't know if the NIL era and transfer portal era are helping Oklahoma as much in going to the SEC.
Then we have a super chat from Sugarcane Daddy, not the crop. He said, the Death Star is back and they're running scared. Obviously talking about Texas and the recruiting machine that it is right now.
Yeah, Texas up back top 5 class right now. We talked about that. I think we've said along it'll be 5th straight top 5 class. But look, I mean, where Texas is, they're gaining attention in recruiting too, is where they're winning battles. I mean, Derek Cooper, Shaman Abadana for the chat. I mean, 5-star running back. Texas is going into areas they haven't won before and winning. Like Cedric Baxter, Orlando, okay. Jarrett Gibson was IMG, Gainesville, even though he was at IMG. But Jamie French last year in Jacksonville is a new area for Texas. Orlando, that I-4 corridor, because it's a short choice in when Florida's not up, that's a very winnable area. Auburn's had a lot of success there over the years. So Texas comes in, they have success there. But what you didn't really see starting last year was a Jamie French out of Jacksonville. And now in Broward County, Diabell and Derek Cooper. And then Dade, even though he's not from Dade, he's playing at Northwestern this year, James Johnson. So Texas is winning in areas now that they haven't won in before in Florida. Then in Georgia, I mean, Nick Brooks last year is one thing. Tyler Atkinson in this class, 2 years in a row from Grayson, one of the power programs. I mean, they're winning in areas, Birmingham Parker with Vodney Cleveland. So they're getting a lot of that SEC cachet and recruiting right now. And then headed into the season, like I said, with Arch Manning at quarterback, this is going to be – I'm not saying it's going to be the highest viewed games, obviously the Texas USC game, but if Arch gets off to a good start, Rod, the amount of eyeballs on Texas is going to be maybe for a full season, maybe as high as it's ever been.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah. If they were at 8 million per game on average prior to Arch, the Arch, I think, bump could get them to 10 million on average per game. Can I ask you something, Jerry, just really quickly? Yeah. You said James Johnson, right? He's from he's playing at Northwestern.
Yeah, where Teddy Bridgewater just got started.
Okay, so Teddy's not coaching the team anymore.
Right. So we'll see. I assume James Johnson will stay there, but I know he's there for workouts this week. He is back at Northwestern for workouts this week after the Teddy Bridgewater suspension by the FHSAA. which I don't understand. The whole thing's the wild, wild west in Florida. I don't even know why you can suspend anybody there.
He's volunteer. He's a volunteer too, right? How you get suspended? He's a volunteer.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because how are so many kids from far away showing up over there? I get it. I get where some people are coming from on the other side of the fence. Like James Johnson lives in North Fort Myers. So you're Alligator Alley.
Is it a magnet? Do they have like a program? Because in Houston, it's a magnet program, and you can go to a lot of schools everywhere else.
I don't even think they care about that in Florida.
They don't care about any of that. Wild Wild West, like you said. Okay, I get it.
All right, we have a super chat. Well, first I need to tell the loin girder thank you because we put that up when Tony was here, but I never got a chance to say thank you for your super chat, so we appreciate you. And then Jeff Carey here says, would you rather have A&M or Oklahoma have a better record this season?
That's good.
It's Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma.
To keep Venables?
Well,
Interesting. That's a good question, though.
I'm different on this, though, because I really do believe this. If A&M and Texas have never really been good together for an extended period of time, and the only way the A&M-Texas rivalry will ever get to a Auburn-Alabama, and it takes years. I know the chat's going to get on me for saying this, but that's okay. Even a Michigan, Ohio State, or a Texas, Oklahoma, there needs to be a lot on the line every single year. In the Texas A&M rivalry really hasn't had that.
No.
So if you really want that rivalry to become Iron Bowl 2, you need A&M to hold up their end of the bargain. Now, a lot of people in the chat say, I don't care. Who cares? Texas OU's fine. But there is an element of that. And I do think both these schools, by the way, in today's NIL era, if they're not signing top 5, 6 level, 7 level classes every year, they either have the wrong coach or they're doing it wrong. So A&M should get better. But will they climb enough to where this rivalry becomes a true game nationally, much more so than it is in the state of Texas? I think that might be good for the state long term, but we'll see. I know the chat will disagree.
There have been, I believe, only one season where both Texas and Texas A&M both had double-digit wins in the same season. In 100+ years they've been playing. To your point, they're rarely good at the same time. Like both of them are rarely elite at the same time. Most of that is the Aggies' fault. But I think the Aggies are more of a threat in the new era of college sports than Oklahoma will be.
I agree.
And like I said, we don't know what's going to happen with Oklahoma, but I do believe Oklahoma can potentially spiral here. If they have a bad season here and the material thing doesn't work, and with obviously a new AD coming in, the Jim Nagy experiment with their own, scoring rating system, like if it all goes bad, they could spiral a little bit. I think Texas did it, right? Pick the next head coach. That's the wrong head coach, and then you got back-to-back wrong guys, and that sends you further, down the dark path as a program. A&M's got cash, they got resources, they still recruit really damn good talent-wise. And if you look at the blue chip ratio, I believe the blue chip ratio had them ahead of Texas, which is crazy, but that's how much talent they have. They just have a bad culture.
Yeah.
And coaching was kind of their issue too. I think Elko is an upgrade in that. Jimbo kind of let things fall off, but they got a culture and a coaching problem. They figure those things out. Aggies can be dangerous. So it all depends on what your motivation is. Do you want Boomer to have a bad record so they continue to spiral and you ain't got to worry about them anymore? Or do you want Boomer to have a better record because they can stabilize it? But I don't think Longhorn fans are that worried about Oklahoma right now. And I think true Longhorn fans know that the Aggies could be a little sleeping giant if they do get this thing rolling.
Well, the question is for the fan bases, do you want to have an Iron Bowl? Do you want to have, even when Nick Saban won 6 national titles, Auburn won a national title, they played for another one. Cam Newton won a Heisman. That game, some of the most iconic moments in college football history are now associated with Nick Saban in those Iron Bowl years. The kick 6. I mean, you think of some of those games. Think of Jalen Milroe's touchdown pass to Isaiah Bond on 4th and Forever 2 years ago that got Alabama into the playoff. That game became must watch for a lot of people.
Yeah,
because it was that the way those games went and how much was on the line. We'll see. But A&M's never held up their end of the bargain. But I do think if they ever did, it would be amazing for Texas and Texas A&M nationally in college football.
I agree. I want to see it. I do. I want to. I'm with now. Jerry sold me. I want to see it. I've never seen it. I wasn't even a part of it where Texas was elite and also A&M elite. I would like to see that going. We know they both gonna make the playoffs. They're that good. That's to just basically determine the SEC champion kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they could potentially play again in the playoffs. Like both teams are that good. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But like I said, that's more dangerous to Texas because that they are indeed could be a threat. Oklahoma, like I said, Oklahoma's going. They got a lot of internal stuff going on that can really kind of wreck the program if they don't make the right decisions.
Okay, hang on. Before we move on, I need to tell everyone about our sponsor one last time today, and that's Adam Lowy of the Lowy Law Firm. If you've been injured or in a car wreck of any kind, from 18-wheeler to ATV, and you think that you might be due some compensation, well, then reach out to Adam and his team for a free, no-strings-attached consultation. You can do that at loweylawfirm.com, and Adam has 20 years of helping injured Texans. We want to thank Adam for sponsoring each and every Wednesday right here on Coffee and Football. All right, Sugar Cane Daddy with another super chat says, how would Lincoln Riley's OU fare in the SEC with no defense?
Not well. Well, I mean, look, if you have Kyler Murray, you're going to be in a college football playoff, right? I mean, they would 10-2 in the college football playoff, but they'd lose a couple of games because they'd lose 51-48, Rod, in my opinion. But if you have Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, you're in this 12-team playoff, you're going to make the playoff. But are you really a threat for the title? Not defensive, not with where they were defensively. Because it proved out in the college football playoff when they got in, or whatever it was called at the time.
Agreed.
And then the loin girder with another super chat says, Jerry, any recruits you're monitoring for Texas that isn't on anyone's radar? Who do you think will have a senior year that will draw Texas to the table? Hook 'em.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting question because there's going to be a couple of guys pop up. There just are. Who's that going to be? Look, I'm gonna kind of monitor linebacker a little bit because Texas wants 3 linebackers. Does an edge guy pop up? I think they'll stay in on Trent Henderson. We'll see if Texas makes a final push for Jake Krull. He's expected to announce in October as of today. If Devon Benjamin goes Oregon's way, could a defensive back pop up? Names right now, I'm not sure I've got a name for you, but those are positionally what I'm looking at. And that could come from in-state. That could come from – look, the state of Florida is one of those wild states for senior rise or 3-star guys. It always has been. That end up being better than that. Georgia has a ton of linebackers in that state, a ton in this class. So – I'm looking at linebacker, and I'm looking at, and depending on what happens with Devon Benjamin, I'd be looking at defensive back potentially. Those are kind of the areas, and not likely a tight end comes out of nowhere on the radar or an offensive lineman. I think Texas will try to flip Malachi Lee, and if they can get it done, they get it done and celebrate. If they don't, 2027 is great in Texas again. So in the state, so that's where I'm coming out right now.
We got time for just another question or two. Let's take this one from Jet Jones. Who's going to be returning punts and kickoffs?
Yeah.
I'm on record as saying Jonah Williams is factoring in the punts because he's fearless.
It's good.
And he's a center fielder and can track a ball like nobody's business. And he's 6'3", 210. He'd be a different type of punt returner, Rod, than the shifty, darting, quick guy. He'd be a guy break arm tackle one and accelerate and try to get to the sideline or accelerate vertically up the field. Kickoff, I think it's pretty wide open in some ways. All this, when I saw Ryan Wingo returning punts, I was not a big fan of that. Too long of a body, and your number one wide receiver to get dotted for me.
Yeah.
Kickoff return, Ryan Niblett. Yeah, Ryan Niblett could factor in some ways. Stephen Houston, we'll see. Does he have that ball tracking ability in punt return? I think is so huge.
Yeah, they're so different. They really are. Yeah, they're very different. Can any of those young receivers return punts? Do they have that kind of twitchiness? Is it Khalil Lockett? Could he do something like that? Or is that
I think Dalen McCutcheon could give you consistency with it, right? He may not be like a super big play waiting to happen, but he could give you consistency with hands, decision making, maximizing whether it's 10, 12, 15. I'm not saying he can't break a big play, but he's not Xavier Worthy or, where it's just if he gets a crease, it's over. Type of deal.
They even gave Silas Bowden a lot of free. Right, it seemed like they was like, "Nah, go make a play on it." And I was like, because some of them, remember Xavier Worthy at the time, we were like, "Hey, stay away from it." He would like walk around and then randomly grab him. Like, whoa, they didn't really follow the rules of punt return. But I'm with you. I think this year, if it's going to be a young guy, you'd be a little bit more strict about, hey, this is the way we're going to approach the punt return, secure it, and that's our number one priority.
Or do they just throw Jonah back there and say,
"Go make a play"?
Go make a play
Because you got instincts, yeah. He's one of them. I like that.
He's scary as a punt return guy because he's different to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's different size-wise than what you normally see.
Well, like you said, the arm tackle, I was a gunner myself, and honestly, a lot of our tackles are arm tackles. Very rarely, when you see a gunner get a clean hit, it's always, ooh, because that was a great open field. Like usually I'm running down, I got the guy pushing me, I'm trying to stack him, and I'm just trying to get there at the last second with the football and time it out right and just get him to either have to readjust, have to make a cut, or can I trip him up a little bit by hitting him low. And a guy like Jonah Williams is hard to bring down that way. You got to get a clean tackle on him. That's hard to do in punt return.
If there's another freshman, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Grayson Littleton on kickoff return might be interesting because he's got a lot. He's got some juice to him.
Like that.
And speaking of freshmen, our last question has to do with freshmen. King Me says, does Texas go back-to-back freshman All-American?
Has Sarkat won every year?
No, I think he just went from Colin Simmons to who could it be this year? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no.
But because Kelvin Banks one, right?
Yeah.
Was Anthony Hill one?
Yes.
Okay. He's had one. He stacks them up. Man, your roster's so stacked now, though.
This is the toughest team for somebody to do that.
Yeah, they got to play. Colin Simmons, I mean, he didn't play that much. Like that was Ohio State fans would complain about. It's like, he didn't play that much. How did he win freshman of the year when he didn't play that much? He actually didn't. He didn't start, but a couple of starts, maybe. I don't know if he got a start, actually, under his belt. So, I just don't know if they'll get the time to play, but maybe a Justice Terry and maybe Cade Phillips if he does end up taking that job. Maybe that cornerback spot opposite Malik Muhammad, whoever that is.
That would be the one.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. I want to thank Adam along with South Point Dodge and Huel for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well for the questions and super chats. Don't forget, we can't be on here all the time, but we are over on OnTexasFootball.com. If you're not a member, sign up using promo code OTFOG and get a full year for just $39.95. That's for new subscribers only. Again, promo code OTFOG at OnTexasFootball.com. And Jerry, I usually ask Bobby this question, but I'm hoping maybe you can fill in some blanks. Do you know what's later today?
Yeah, a state of the program. We'll have that later today. Jeff and I, for the guys that like the basketball stuff, Jeff and I are going to record a little On Texas basketball, kind of an update on basketball recruiting. The live recruiting periods are over for Sean Miller and staff. They've got 7 official visits scheduled. Going to talk a little bit about the team. I got some information on the team. So we're going to have that. And then we'll have live stream tonight with Rod B and CJ and I believe Jeff.
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. Well, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Rod Babers and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then. Have a great day.